Hey there, Michelle. How's everything today?
Good, Lindsay. How's it going?
It's going great on my end. No major complaints. So, yeah, what's new in your New York life? What's going on?
Was it's been a little bit of a crazy week. There was a water main break and couldn't
Whoa.
use the water and things like that, and a little bit frustrating, but it's okay, I think.
Okay. All right. It's okay. We're getting through it, right?
Yes, yes, we are getting through it, but, yeah, but no, because I'm not an empty nester, I can be very, it's very busy around with the little
You're
kiddos, and, yeah, I'm
yeah.
pretty far from that stage,
Far from that, Michelle. You've got a few
yeah,
more years before you're an empty nester. Quite a few.
yes, quite a few. Are your parents empty nesters?
They are. Yeah, thank goodness, right? I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, thank goodness. They are. My brother and I have both been gone for, oh my gosh, more than 8 I've been gone for more than 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, we both moved out after college. Like we never really moved back in. I think I was back in my parents' house for a couple months
Yeah,
after college, working in a waitressing job
yeah.
and getting ready for my move to Tokyo. So, but that's the only time I've ever moved home. So, yeah.
Did you know you were moving to Tokyo when you
I knew.
graduated?
That's why it kinda made it well, I knew by, like, the fall, by September, and so I was just waiting for January, so I just stayed with them for a couple months.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was also same, I had a few months as well, and then eventually I moved to New York.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but so my parents are empty nesters too, of course. And I have my brother and we're both out. But Lindsay, all right, what is an empty nester?
Yeah, we keep on throwing out this it sounds like we're talking about birds or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're gonna explain this phrase to our listeners, but first, Michelle, let's let our listeners know where else they can go to talk about this concept of absence, things being
Yes.
gone. Yeah, what do
Yeah.
you think?
Well, episode 1434 is Does Absence Make the Heart Grow Fonder? Find out today. So that's a good one to listen to about, oh, if people are not near you, and this expression,
Yeah.
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, it's also a good philosophical question. Like, is it true? Right? Is that true?
Mm,
So, very
yes.
interesting. Well, what does it mean, Michelle, when we talk about empty nesters? What do you
Well,
think?
empty nesters are parents who have had their children move away, whether it's to college or but not move away like they went to sleepaway camp, right? Like that they're like officially out of the house, like they've raised them and now they're flying away,
They're
right?
flying away.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and a lot about like used when kids are off to college or move out permanently. I mean, I think that we kind of use this idea of like a bird flying free a lot with parenting, don't you think? Like empty nester or
Mhm.
like fly, let them fly, like they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this
No
idea of like letting the
question.
baby bird fly away and
Yeah. We
yeah.
do. Or another example of this, when I was a kid, I went to nature camp, and the nature camp was called Roots and Wings, right? You wanna
Mhm.
give the kid roots and wings, right? We
That's
have
cute.
so we have all these phrases that have to do with birds flying when it comes to raising children. It's true. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Did you still go I know, did you still go home a lot in college, or when you moved to college, was it kinda like they felt like the real empty nester feeling?
No, I didn't go home much because I went to college in Virginia, which was 500 miles from my home, so I went home, like, 3 times a year maybe, but a lot of the kids at school went home because it was a lot of them were
Right.
from Virginia, so it was a suitcase school, as we call it, a
Right.
suitcase school. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I went to University of Maryland, and so I went home a fair bit, especially in the beginning, and then I think less as time went on and I got more adjusted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like that transition for a parent must be very hard.
Yeah, I mean, often we think about this, and on the show, we talk about this from the perspective of the college kids,
Yeah.
right? Kids leaving for college, leaving the home. But today we're kind of talking about it from the parents' perspective because a lot of our listeners are probably parents and maybe soon or now will be empty nesters, right? Maybe you're living in a new country and you're an empty nester. That's interesting,
Mm.
right?
I mean, do you remember how it was for your parents? Was this a hard transition for them? Do you remember?
Well, it's funny because we kinda go off and then we're so immersed in our own world that I
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really check in. I don't think I had the state of mind as an 18-year-old to be like, "How are you doing?"
Yeah,
With all
right,
of this.
right.
I guess they were fine. I think that they were pretty strict when I was growing up, and then all of a sudden, at some point when I was, like, 16 or 17, they became much less strict. Like, they just let down all the guard. They didn't care, around rules like curfew. So it was weird, kind of.
Interesting,
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, we
yeah,
don't think, like, I remember going off to college and I was upset myself and, like,
yeah.
um, but you don't really think about it from your parents' perspective, but it must be pretty painful.
Yeah, I think it really must be. Very interesting.
So guys, empty nester is the expression we're talking about today, and it's a really great way to connect with others, right? So you could say you're an empty nester, or you could use it when somebody has kids who move away.
Yeah, I mean, so good to connect with if you put this label on yourself. And again, it doesn't have any kind of negative terminology. It's not really a negative feeling, right? It is a fact. Your kids have moved away. You will connect with other people who are also empty nesters, right, Michelle? Okay. So are there any other good expressions then to say this, Michelle, would you say?
Yes, there are. So one is kids have flown the coop.
The coop.
Right?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
like the
So
chicken. Oh, here we go back to chickens and birds.
exactly. Right, exactly. So we seem to be talking about birds a lot. So this means that the kids have left home.
So for example, now that all my kids have flown the coop, it's a bit tough. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of think, honestly, I feel like maybe this is where parents and kids misunderstand each other. I think maybe kids think it's tough for parents, but it's actually great for them. I think most parents are actually excited and because they can be free, they can travel, they have much
True.
less expenses. I mean,
True,
their
true,
expenses
true.
go way down. I feel like most parents are celebrating when they're empty nesters. They're like, "Great."
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna ask my parents about that. How did that actually feel? I think in college it might be different because there are winter breaks and there are other things. So it might not be as difficult when your kid just goes to college if you know they're going to be coming home for these breaks. But maybe when like the permanent like they move away for their job and like get their apartment and it's like I feel like that might be a little harder, although you've kind of gotten some training and used to it with college, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, in a way, I don't know. I'm not a parent and I'm not an empty nester. I haven't even become a parent yet, nor have I hit that moment of them leaving. But I feel like parents prepare for that their entire lives,
Mhm.
right? Every time you teach your kid something, you're probably thinking about independence. Like he needs to become independent on this, right? And so also this is a very American perspective, the whole concept of leaving the home as an 18-year-old or 20 or eventually leaving the home, right? Very cultural side point.
Yeah.
I would argue that it's probably less of a big deal for the parents than the kids, but I don't know, it depends on the parents, I guess.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I'll let you know one day, but,
Sure, sure. Okay, what else, Michelle? What other words do we need to know?
okay, so this is a little bit different because you parents who are empty nesters. I mean, once you're an empty nester, you're always an empty nester unless somebody comes back, of course. So as your kids go to college and then eventually maybe you retire,
Mhm.
you are still an empty nester. So you could use the word retiree is a person who is retired. So you
Yep.
could say I'm joining a group of fellow retirees for brunch tomorrow, right? So that's like when you officially stop working.
I love that. I love that. Or retired, just the term to be
Retired.
retired, not having
Mhm.
a job after a career. So, for example, I'm retired, but I was an accountant. And I want to throw in another fun term. We do have a term for that. Do you know that word, Michelle, when someone leaves the home and then comes back? We have a cultural term for that.
Oh, what
Uh,
is it?
you know what it is? So it's boomerang, a boomerang parent or a
Oh,
boomerang. I guess is it a boomerang parent or a
I guess it would
boomerang
be the
home?
kid. No,
A
right?
kid, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, like boomerang millennials, right? This
Ah,
concept, we've read about
ah.
this, how a lot of millennials, maybe in the Great Recession in 2008, maybe also in the pandemic, but I don't know,
Mhm.
were moving back home,
Mhm.
and that was notable in our culture, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's true. So, okay, boomerang, that is another good one.
right? Because the concept of a boomerang, it goes
Goes
out and then
away
it
and it comes
comes
back.
back.
Yes.
Very and so that's finally, we get away from the bird analogies. Gosh.
Finally. Um, should we do a role play?
Yeah, let's do it. I know our listeners love role plays. Guys, this is how we take all our vocabulary that we learn together and now we put it into real life, right?
Yes.
So, here, Michelle, we are friends whose kids have just gone off to college. So, we are becoming empty nesters now.
Here we go. All right, here we go. I can't believe we're empty nesters now. So, how do you feel?
Oh, it's hard. It's very bittersweet. They were just babies and now they've flown the coop.
Yeah, so weird. Well, I don't think I'll be a retiree anytime soon, but I'm going to try to enjoy some of the relaxation.
Yeah, if I were retired at this point, it would be too hard for me. I want to stay busy for a while, but then one day I'll retire. Nice. So yeah, so this is kind of saying in American culture, often kids will go off to college. So that's kind of when that's sort of I don't know, it's sort of hazy whether you would become an empty nester during college or after college, right? Michelle,
Right.
we said that
Right.
before. But let's say they're 22 and then there still might be a gap of time in which your parents are still working, in which the parents are still having a career, right?
Right. Exactly. There is a could be quite a bit of time.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, there's that gap. So yeah, but should we go through and talk about
Let's
how we
do
used
it.
it? Okay.
Let's do it. So what'd you say first, Michelle? I?
I can't believe we're empty nesters now. How do you feel? Right? So I'm connecting with you.
Yeah, connection skill. They were just babies and now they've flown the coop. So it kind of sounds like, yeah, we raised our kids together kind of, right?
Right. Maybe we're friends, our kids went to school together, something like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Then I said, "Well, I don't think I'll be a retiree anytime soon."
Right. So you're not going to retire yet. And I said, yes, if I were retired at this point, it would be too hard. So, meaning, what do I mean by that? It would be too hard.
It would be
What?
too much of a shock, like, I imagine your kids leaving and then also stopping work, then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably
Sure.
a shock to the system.
Yeah, I mean, when we're bored and we don't have anything to do, we can kind of dwell on things, right? And miss the past,
Right.
right? So it's good to
Yep.
stay busy. Yeah, absolutely. What's the takeaway for our listeners today? This is a great way to connect, as you said.
Yes, I mean, you can connect with other empty nesters, you can talk about your feelings. I mean, this is a common feeling. I'm not looking forward to this, although who knows, maybe when the time comes, then maybe like Lindsay said, maybe I will be celebrating. You never know. But yeah, I mean, this is good stuff and definitely a big transition for people in life. So let us know. Are you an empty nester? What is it like? Or maybe your parents are empty nesters. Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, I mean, this is another. I feel like lately, Michelle, we've been stumbling on situations for our listeners that are very nuanced. Right? It's not
Mhm.
necessarily a great thing, and it's not a terrible thing, but that's real. That's like how we live our lives. Everything is kind of a mix of both, and
Yeah,
so we're giving you guys the skills to communicate those more nuanced situations. Right?
absolutely. Yeah. All right, Lindsay. Well, this kind of made me feel lots of things. Ah,
Michelle, you have a lot of time. Okay, don't
I
worry.
know, but then it also makes me feel things for my parents, and lots of things. You know me. So anyway, but
Oh,
but
that's great, that's great. All
anyway,
right.
guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for talking about this with me, Lindsay. And all right, have a good one.
All right, Michelle, take care. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.